I feel like the guitar riff is never loud enough. Yeah, but that's
Dude, you crushed it. That was like your timing was spot on that one. You remembered both the count in and the lead in before we started. Well done.
How
You're
about
just
that?
trying to impress our guest, aren't you?
Yeah, I got to put my best foot forward.
For this
Which fun
VIP.
fact, best foot forward, which fun fact is not the foot that I dropped a knife on last week and got stitches in.
Oh, boyo.
You want to see it?
No.
Yeah, it's just a little bit. Oh, they're really it was a deep wound. It wasn't long, it was deep.
I told Eric that is one of my
That's what that woman from the
greatest
American
fears.
Office said.
That's one of my greatest fears, to walk from the sink with a knife and on the way to the knife block, drop it on your foot, and you did it.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Fumbled on the handoff.
Yeah.
One of my greatest fears is always like, because the dogs always sit like in the worst places
Yeah.
in the kitchen. One of my greatest fears is like I'm carrying the knife or I'm like carrying a pair of scissors or something and it like slips out of my hand and it like goes in, it impales them or it kills the dog.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
that's a part 2 of mine too.
as sad as that is, because right, you killed a living being.
Yeah.
I'm actually more terrified of then having to explain it to Nicole, and I've come up with like various
That's
lies.
the fear. Yeah.
I've thought like, do I blame one of the kids? Do I say like, I don't know what happened? I just came upon the dog.
Why is there a knife in Charlie's jugular?
So they're like, all right, now you lay down, and I'm going to drop it right on you.
You-
And done.
Hold on, let me
man.
test this and see what happens.
Cold-blooded.
Just that dark.
Oh man,
She loves those dogs.
she does love those dogs.
More than us.
It's possible. I've seen the way she looks at them, and I've seen the way she looks at you.
Yeah.
It's not the same, man. It's not the same. Oh man.
What are we going to talk about in our time here, fellas?
Oh, I thought we used to keep talking about my feet. There's money in that.
It's my day off. Come on, we got to
No.
make it interesting.
Dr. Ricky's gone. We don't have to talk about feet anymore.
I will say though, this is one of my. I was telling you this, and just then we'll get off my foot. So there's this little.
And on to the rest.
It's this little clinic in Shadyside, and it's like it's. I mean, it's like a double wide. It's like a small domicile, a house, like it just, and it's just I called them and said, hey, I dropped a knife on my foot and I think I need stitches. They're like, come on in. I walked in, I filled out a form. Within 5 minutes, I was back there with the doctor, and the doctor was like, yeah, we're gonna have to stitch this up. And he numbs me, and then he asked me if I've ever gotten stitches before, and I was like, yeah, I've got them on my chin and my finger. He goes, like deadpan, doesn't even blink. He's just like, cool, this is my first time. Do you mind if I just watch this YouTube video? Make sure. I'm like stitches me up. I was in and out in less than 45 minutes.
Clearly not his first time.
Clearly not his first time. But it was like,
appreciate-
if I'd gone to the ER or if I'd gone to patient first, I would have been gone for a few hours.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I love about little small town Shadyside. Like, it does feel like it's, a few years behind the rest of, but it is like you're somewhat isolated. And it's this guy, it's his private practice. And
Similar to Leonardtown. It's like taking a time machine to 1980 something.
Yeah.
With all the crop tops, muscle tees, and bad haircuts.
Makes me think of like Doc Hollywood when Michael J. Fox moved in.
I think he gives him a coat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the whole scene
He's
too? Where
got
he's like,
stomach ache.
you ordered open, surgery and all for a bad case of diarrhea.
Oh, yeah, all you have was some indigestion. Here's a can of Coke.
He's a coat.
Good old Wilford Brimley.
That's awesome.
My name is Wilford Brimley and I have diabetes.
That's when Dad got diabetes.
Oh, so yeah. Anyway, enough about me and my
And your
my
foot.
goings on.
You're
Allie
infectious.
Coleman's in the house.
Hi. I came and did the workout with Eric. It was fun.
Oh, cool.
Allie an original Fairwinds CrossFit individual.
We could dig up some photos from the garage.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Pre-Fairwinds CrossFitter.
Mhm.
And then, but now Allie's become my workout buddy a few days a week,
Mhm.
where it's been cool. Like after class, I'm like, all right, cool. Just meet me at 8:00. And if she can make it, she makes it. And if she can't, it's on my calendar to plan to work out at 8:00 anyway.
Yeah.
So it's at least 3 days a week that I have. So if anything, I think it helps me more than it helps her.
We just hang out.
But it's nice to be hanging out.
That's cool.
There was one day that we were both just having like a hard day. We were just like, the new bakeries open up the street. We're just like, screw it. We need to let our hair down and
at where the Salty Dog Cafe thing used to be.
Black Market
Nice.
Bakery.
Yeah, it's great. It's in the pool. It's in that little They have a
Port Annapolis.
yeah, Port
Yeah.
Annapolis.
Yep.
Yeah,
This podcast brought to you by Hot Crusty
Hot
Croissant.
cakes.
chocolate
Yeah.
croissants.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
Would
so
you
good.
wanna-
Have you hit the?
Aren't the girls working there? Didn't like
They tried to apply. They
uh,
tried to apply. They applied, and they haven't heard back yet. So that was
Gotcha.
a good decision.
They must. I think they because they always have like 47 people working.
I know.
Like
I
there's.
told them, I'm like, you might need to apply to a couple other places.
Yeah,
Spread your.
but
Spread
they
the
have.
pool out.
But they started as a like a truck out by like Chevy's on like Saturday mornings,
Hmm.
and then they opened up their brick and mortar in Edgewater, which
Yeah.
always has a line, but it's
Mhm.
worth the wait. And then when I found out they were opening up here, I was like, oh man.
So you should get him on the podcast. That guy's really nice, but his father.
Oh, the guy who was our cashier,
No, that
the
guy.
guy who remember Allie.
Allie.
Yeah.
That's why I say my name.
Yeah.
No, the guy who owns it is the same. He's the son of the guy who owns O'Leary's and Chevy's.
Oh,
So O'Leary's and Chevy's, same owner here.
I
in
love both of
Annapolis,
those.
Both great restaurants. And then his son opened up the Black Market Baker truck with his brother. That's a separate
Cool.
business. And then that. So yeah, he's a Broadneck guy. Went to Broadneck he's younger than me. Probably your age. You're not that much younger, but a couple years younger.
I'm not 40 yet. I'm holding on to that. I'm not 40 yet.
Yeah.
June, July, August, September. 4 months. I'll be there.
wow.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway.
It all grows up. It all grows up.
All
All grows
grows up.
But yeah, but I thought it'd be fun. Yeah, get a little special guest on here, someone that's not the normal, talking heads of Eric and Jack.
Yeah,
And,
Allie's most definitely not normal.
Yeah, safe.
I love
to
this.
say.
I do love this opportunity. Thank you both, because I want to do a podcast at work, and my job is I'm a manager of very technical people, but they're grown professionals. They have interesting lives. They do a lot of things outside of their day to day. So I do like the idea. But Jack and I were kicking around before I hit record of doing a podcast about how I work for Adobe, how we use the Adobe kind of resources in our own community. It's not in a way that we're using the software, we're
Right.
stretching it. It's more like we want our people to carry the brand of Adobe into their lives, and they do it in really meaningful ways. Like last month, we had an all hands call, and one of the guys on my team, he is a board sponsor for ALS, and that's an Adobe. It's an Adobe like kind of nominated position. So if you're a board sponsor, Adobe gives ALS, which is Alzheimer's Association, up to $40,000 a year in grants for that one board member. And then every hour of service that he gives, Adobe pays $100 for that hour.
That's awesome.
It's crazy. And then on top of it,
And then
and then if people give donations and it goes through him, he puts it in for a match. We do 100% match. So he's raised like 40 grand this last year for ALS, and went to DC with a group of people on the board to talk about opportunities for changing the way that early detection for Alzheimer's and how it's funded medically. I'm going to say this wrong, but like basically how you can get it covered by insurance to do early detection.
Alzheimer's or ALS, two different things.
Did I say ALZ? Sorry, Alzheimer's.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Thank you for correcting me. Alzheimer's. So early detection for Alzheimer's, which would be awesome for people to be able to go to their doctor and get screening and tests, but it's not covered. So that's what he was doing. So anyway,
So if that's so, right. So that's sort of what you were saying is like how Adobe shows up in the world.
yeah,
But in a sense, and what we were Eric artfully stopped us so that we didn't waste the good
Yeah.
content behind the scenes.
yeah,
You are a visual company, right? Like you're visual arts. At least if I'm your audience, that's what I imagine Adobe is I think of
creativity.
Photoshop and yeah. Well, so even right there, that is a different brand image than me as an uneducated audience member.
Mhm.
That little switch where I'm like, you're a visual company, Photoshop, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, no, we're a creative company.
Mhm.
But what you just described to me, that's right. How is that creative? And I'm not saying it's wrong, but how is that creativity? Well, it's creativity in the sense of you're creatively figuring out a way to provide access to a service that somebody might not normally have.
Yeah. Is that me?
Is the spaceship landing?
Sorry.
You unmuted.
Oh, that's what it was.
There we go.
Mutual.
I agree. I like that, Jack. I think
So that path that I just kind of went through
Mhm.
is sort of where we were talking about. You have that guiding question, or sort of your snappy overall question of how does Adobe show up in the world. Where I was going was that immediately assumes a metaphorical personification of a non-human thing, Adobe. So all the things that we assume a person can do, they have a body, they have a voice, they have creativity, they have, they're mortal, they're immortal. Like, you know what I mean? Like, all of that serves as the sort of guiding thread or the connecting thread for all of these discussions that you were talking about, in that you got content, you got people.
I have a lot of content people.
Yeah, they're doing awesome things.
Yeah.
So the sort of your job, or maybe the first, that sort of beginning 3, 4, 5, 6 episodes till you kind of get your right. Like, once it becomes, and again, metaphor, once it starts to have a life of itself, you
Mhm.
can worry less and less about always connecting it back to that kind of guiding question. But that sense of, Eric and I have talked about this. You asked us, like, how would I start a podcast? We started it because we were trying to take an hour a week to study for the level 3
Mhm.
exam, and it wasn't really like he and I don't study in the same way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it was not working. And I was like, well, why don't we just do a podcast, and it would have the opportunity and the excuse for us to just talk about CrossFit in a way that serves both of us.
I like it.
10, 5, episodes later, 2 years later, 100 episodes later. Yeah, we were kind of talking about CrossFit most of the time, but not all the time.
Yeah. That's kind of where I want to go with it. The thing that I remember the most about you guys starting the podcast that I liked and inspired to do myself is just get started. I remember you just getting started, and I liked that philosophy where you were both just like,
we're
let's just
recording
do
on the
it.
phone. Yeah.
And then we'll see how it goes. And then we'll, okay, we need to improve the audio, get a new mic. We need to refine whatever, just different things that you did to make it better and last. I love that. So I'm going to just get started. I'll let you guys know how it goes.
That's awesome. And you have to, I think, also remember, or one thing that is a very nice low stakes aspect to it is podcast. I heard this, I think it might have been Tim Ferriss or somebody he had on. Podcast as a medium is a microcasting medium, meaning if you have 5 audience members, that's as many as you need. If you have 10, if you have 50, if you have 1, sometimes if it's just you and your guest and you're the audience, you know what I mean? Like, because
that's currently,
the obstacles to entry are so low that it is specifically and purposely designed to serve whatever medium, audience, purpose it needs to design.
I like that. And I think for my audience, what we were talking about, Eric, about my staff, my people, it's about giving them a voice. So giving them a topic, letting them speak, letting them practice speaking, getting them doing the type of things that are training for every other part of their job. So it serves that purpose too.
Yeah.
I think it's good because a lot of times they kind of just get stuck behind the keyboard and they're doing a lot of customer service, but customer service people are the worst at sharing their successes. Not talk about how all the great things they've done. In fact, one of the guys on my team did something really great for his customer, and I said, let's make a success story and share it on one of our all hands calls. And he said, why would I do that? That's just my job.
Yeah.
So that's the hard part and I'd love to give them the mic and just be like, let's talk about it. Give them practice of talking about themselves. So anyway, I love it.
What kind of platform would you like? Does Adobe kind of have its own YouTube channel? Does it have its own?
Yeah, we have our own YouTube channel, and there are other teams who've done podcasts. I've seen them on our internet, and I've looked them up. I just haven't started listening to them yet, so you can access them on the internet. But I have to look into what ours would be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking something. I want the rest of the team to be able to log in and listen. So I have to have a tight agenda, and I have to make it short because then they'll be like, all right, I'm going to listen. If I know Eric, my coworker's on for 10 minutes to talk about X or Y, like they'll want to hear their peers talk, I think. So
We'll find out.
we're going to
So
find out.
you could, and that's sort of where, I was thinking, do you guys use like Google Drive? Like does Amazon have its own like cloud? Obviously it does.
Yeah.
But like where you could just record them as WAV files or MP4s or whatever. On a Zoom or on it, like Zoom even has, I don't know if you guys have your own even. I'm just thinking, so these are like the logistic things that initially feel so insurmountable.
Mm-hmm.
But I always think of how you did this for me, actually, when we had our, I was trying to start the origin story ones. Think of what I want my customer experience to be, and then walk backwards from that. And oftentimes the things that I thought were kind of obstacles end up becoming that would actually be so easy. So you just said you want your team to be able to have access to it. Okay, do you want an external audience to have access to it? Nah, not really. Then you don't need YouTube. You don't need Barnyard or whatever this is that you're, Eric. What are you using, Eric? What is this?
StreamYard. You're close.
StreamYard.
The logo is a duck.
Little duck.
It's a duck with headphones on.
It's a really cute little logo.
Maybe you just record them locally on whatever video conference thing, if it's Google Meet, if it's Zoom or whatever, and then you just upload them as 10-minute clips to a file folder.
I'm gonna look around and see what we have available to us. And then
That's why I like this too. Like using one thing I like about StreamYard, so we're recording a lot. It's live right now.
Yeah.
I can also record it not live. So it's not out there in the world. I can also save the recordings. It also automatically saves the recording. It also automatically saves the audio. It can let you do stuff like the little intro and stuff that I had. Like it's basically just a little board here that you can mess with, and it's really intuitive. I kind of just started playing with it. And it was fun. And I can do stuff like this, like, hey, also celebrate a design that, you're in a design company. Here's a design that Allie made, our Fairwinds Murph t-shirt, like already loaded up and ready to go.
Do you recognize the logo inspiration? It's basically,
do I?
Yeah, a straight lift.
It's Captain America.
Close.
Oh no. Who?
It's a real American hero, Jack. I feel like you should know. Isn't that what it is?
Oh, is that the real America? Like
real American.
Isn't
and
it?
then the end was always at the end there was always like, and knowing is half the battle.
Oh, it's G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotcha. Not Great American Hero. That's what I thought you guys were talking about.
Yes.
Remember that one? The guy who's just like the regular Joe who got like zapped by like some alien power, and then he had like the yellow hair afro.
Yeah. The Great American. Yeah. Yes, Eric comes up with the idea, and I said, "I'll do it." And that's
nice.
I have a vision, and she executes. It's awesome.
So that's so funny. I was just listening to Armchair Expert, Dax Shepard and Dax and Monica, and they had Gretchen Rubin on about happiness and stuff, and they were talking about, maybe it wasn't her, but anyway, it was somebody on, and they were talking about the visual products that exist that use sort of not subliminal, but like not obvious things. And they mentioned the FedEx Arrow, the Tostitos, the Baskin Robbins, all the ones that we talked about.
Yes.
And right. So it's that visual literacy, the social visual literacy that those brands sort of take advantage of.
Yeah.
But at the same time aren't like, it's not like nefarious. It's just, it's like that like fun little, I see the arrow.
Yeah. A little Easter egg.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a cool part about design.
I love a lot of sports teams do that. Those little like hidden messages in their logos.
Mhm.
There's so many sports teams that have these little hidden things inside.
Give
They're
me
like,
one. I don't know. One.
so like if you do, one of my favorite ones is the Milwaukee Brewers.
Oh.
Pull up real quick.
Is it like a kombucha?
I would suggest the Fairwinds one has one with the bar. It's not really.
It's a
hidden,
bar.
though.
Yeah, I mean, there's the barbell.
dumbbell,
Yeah,
but-
right.
Dumbbell, yeah.
The dumbbell. Yeah. Version of it.
There it is. For life. For life.
Faux life.
All
I'm gonna
right.
get. I'm working on working up the courage to go get an octopus or squid on there.
What?
So this is the Milwaukee.
awesome.
This is the Milwaukee Brewers logo.
So it's a BMB in the glove.
MB, but it's also a baseball glove. Yeah.
That's nice.
Um,
Love the designs.
there's a lot of those. Yeah. I think.
I thought it was gonna be something with beer.
Beer. Me too. It's like, where's the beer?
Who's
Come
the
on.
other one? There was another one like Seattle Mariners. Not so much their old logo.
Well, you guys were involved with the process so closely of designing your logo, and that's the coolest part for me is that they don't just write something. I just need a logo. It's the conversation that leads to the
Yes.
creation of the logo.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was fun.
The process that was really fun.
I still have all those files like that we went back and forth with of like the John Deere colors. You're the only one within like 150-mile radius of the
That was so cool.
Colors.
Yeah.
green and yellow. And
Fun
It
with
was so
that.
cool.
Yeah, it was the whole branding initiative was really fun because it was like we looked at other CrossFit affiliates, but also just what you wanted it to say, the blend of the two of you, like the whole thing was just really neat. I don't know, it was fun. Fun
Well,
process, guys.
Well, then even another. So like, because we're opening up an online store, and so another. So there's this design
Mhm.
that we're doing, and then we still have the that down the back.
Yeah,
But the thought was too is like, remember we said like let's take like Fairwinds and just make a really basic one.
Mhm.
Because like if you look at something like Rogue has the basic T-shirt. It just says Rogue on it, but they have a green shirt with a white logo, and they have a blue shirt with a white logo, and then they
Yeah.
have a red shirt with a green logo. And it's like you have unlimited options for this very basic shirt, and I like the simplicity of it. It's one that like you can always have up, and then 3 or 4 months you can a real quick like, hey, it's summertime. We're gonna do a light blue and a bright orange. Boom, summertime colors.
change it up easy.
And
Yeah.
it's been like a cool way to kind of like make it real simple, but also like endless
Mhm.
creativity with it. But then also like allows for, okay, we've got our basic here, and now we can always have like, here's a fun design in a few months, and then here's another new fun design. But we always come back to that basic,
Yeah.
which has always been cool. So anyway, that's
so it's so funny you said, and then again, it comes down to the customer experience too. Of like, you're never gonna make that much money on merch at first. Like it's more advertising, but if the experience for the person buying it is seamless and kind of enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's I don't know if it was a book or an article, I can't remember where I read it, but in the Philadelphia Inquirer about Wawa. So Wawa made the majority of their money when they first opened, as they weren't gas stations, was coffee. They had cracked the code on sort of like volume, and they used a brand out of like a distributor out of like Hazleton area.
Mhm.
They've since moved on to something else, but that brought people in, and then they would buy breakfast sandwiches, hoagies, whatever. Then when they were considering moving into the gas station side of it, they were kind of like, I don't know. But what they did was they facilitated the way that they were designed, that people would pull up, and they had enough pumps in the way it was designed that you could leave your car at the pump and then walk in and go get coffee.
Yep.
So they were the first ones to design that kind of like awning and the way it was. Within like 9 months, Royal Farms, Sheets, all the other ones basically stole their idea and their sort of like design flow. But again, for the longest time, coffee and food merchandise was still their primary revenue stream, not the gas. Eventually, obviously, you can't, gas is king. You can't.
Of course,
can't
maybe
beat
that's why
that.
I feel like Wawa has the cheapest gas. I feel like when you're going to look for gas, Wawa usually is less expensive than others, and maybe part of that is that model where because they know people are probably going to come in and spend money on this other stuff, they can offer the gas. That gas is to pull them in and be like, well, while I'm here, let me get the coffee and the sandwich.
Yeah. And also, I mean, the back to the t-shirt, the branding and the purpose, the audience, the customer, the Fairwinds crew here is very communal. They want to feel connected to each other. They're proud of it.
Yeah.
Walking around with something that, says Fairwinds, it sounds so corny, but I was wearing the Fairwinds Open shirt with Popeye on the back. And this woman asked me yesterday, I was wearing it yesterday. And this woman asked me, what's that shirt? My dad has a Popeye tattoo. That's awesome. And I was like, oh, it's Fairwinds. They're down on Edgewood Road. It's a great CrossFit gym. So yeah, the walking advertisement's huge too, but allowing them to Eric and I talked about the shop, taking the responsibility out of you to get the orders and all that's a pain in the butt. Just put up a shop and let them order exactly what they want. Yeah. And then they can walk around with pride.
That's
show
right.
everybody where to come.
That's right. Especially for Bring a Friend Week, May 22nd.
Oh, nice. That's good pitch.
Bring a friend, free week.
Who do you have signed up to already bring a friend?
Officially signed up. One person signed up, but plenty of I'm bringing my friend. I'm like, can you sign them up, please, so I know who's going to be here.
Because you need it to be.
I'd like to know who's going to be here at the best of my ability. Yeah. But that's the whole idea is, hey, they get a full week. Yep. To come enjoy some CrossFit and kind of get to see what the community is. Then we put a nice bow on it with Murph on Saturday.
Oh, that's so soon.
Yeah. So they come by a week and then, hey, come hang out and we'll do a little pancake breakfast and stuff for Murph. And then a nice little referral program for if they sign up for the members and stuff.
So Allie, let's take the magic carpet ride forward in time. You've done 8 episodes, or you've done 8 sit downs or whatever. And the sort of not newness, but the excitement of it has worn off. Yeah. How do you transition into it being something that is routine?
It's a great question because I'm in that right now with a lot of my work meetings. I told Eric, and let me use this example to try and help figure out, maybe you guys can help me with that question too, but we have this very large all hands meeting we had it every week. No, every 2 weeks. We have 200 people on our staff. So it's a 200 person meeting. And the feedback was coming in that it was just uninspiring. Leaders were talking at us. It was just, we have to sit on this call for an hour and listen to you guys bark at us and stuff. And we're like, we need to make it fresh again. We need to mix it up. So we need to look at the cadence, ask everybody when they want to meet. So the first thing that we did was just ask all the managers, there's 8 of us, ask your teams, how can you fit in once every 2 weeks for this is what we ended up doing. Once every 2 weeks for 50 minutes, or can you do 75 minutes every month? We stretch it out. And they were like, we could do 75 minutes, but the topics have to be short, succinct, snappy, whatever. And they have to be fresh and it has to rotate. We have to know what's coming so that for this group, that's why I said that earlier about the podcast. Right. That way, if they want to plan, they want to listen to it or whatever, they can schedule it. So that's what we're doing with big meetings. With podcasts, this is a different medium for me. It's a different thing. So I'm guessing it's along the same lines, though. I tend to work with feedback. I just, okay, what's working, what's not, change it up, offer up some new ways of doing things, mix something in every once in a while that's different.
Okay.
I don't know. Tell me what you guys think about that. What do you think is what gets it out? And I don't know, Jack, when you ask that question, you're talking about what stops it from being routine every week for you or for the listener?
Well, a little bit of both, but in the sense you're the keystone that kind of keeps it going if it's your idea, right? So in an example with our first go run at this, and Eric can tell me if I'm wrong, and he knows we've known each other long enough that this isn't a slight at him. But when push would come to shove, that it would start to feel like work.
Yeah.
The move sometimes the default move is, let's cancel this week. Let's postpone this week. Or do we really need another one? Like, let's just do a and I would push back on that and say, no, you skip 1 week, you're going to skip 2.
Yeah.
You're done. It's over. Like, it doesn't happen. I'll just record it on my own.
Just like CrossFit workouts.
Right. Like it became that thing of, and again, that's simply because my stubbornness was that I know that I would have the tendency that once it's out of the loop, I'm not coming back to it. Like, it's just whatever. And what we learned over time was for E, it was exactly like you were just describing. When that would start to happen, it was because it wasn't, and you can, Eric, obviously say, I don't want to talk for you. It wasn't fun anymore, or it didn't have that kind of like excitement. Once we get into it, it was fun, but it was like, this other thing, right? It seems like it's more important because this thing's just routine. Yeah. So like we recognize that and we're very open in it, that I would have the strength, or sort of not strength. I would have the tendency that I'm going to put my fucking head down and I'm going to do this thing come hell or high water because I'm just so goddamn stubborn.
Yeah.
At the expense of something actually being worth it anymore. Like, I'll just keep doing it. Where Eric would be like, so like, it's just not fun anymore. Let's move on. Like, he has the strength. Right. Like, he has the strength to move on to something new, but sometimes at the expense of, hey, let's just push through the boring part because there may be something worth on the other end, right? And so the two of those kind of blending together came to sort of a sweet spot, but not because, like, it doesn't have to be because we're two different people. It was just this like learning process of recognizing exactly what you just described, of, for you that if something starts to feel too not boring, but like uninspired, are you really going to stay with it? Or is it, well, it's not that it's uninspired, maybe it just needs a different thing, but the non-negotiable is I will record 1 a week, like no matter what's happening, I will always record 1 a week. If it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 2 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever, but you always record like 1 a week. That's sort of my non-negotiable. Like, it doesn't.
Make sure you have a non-negotiable. Eric, what do you like most about podcasting?
No, it's the same. That there were plenty of times where I felt like it was just like, if it wasn't for the routine, then I would have just fallen off.
What do you get out of it?
Oh, that's a good
podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some days where I feel like I just spent an hour talking. But there's, like you said, sometimes you end up coming out of it. I think I go into it sometimes like, I don't know what to talk about. I don't know what I'm going to get out of this. Let's just roll with it. Like you said, and then by the end of it, you're like, oh, actually, we talked about this, and I thought about this more. It varies week to week. I'd say, I don't know. It's the big thing was, like Jack said, like kind of that mentality of, look, just whatever it is, like you said, you're going to do it, so commit to it and do it. And then sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not. Yeah. And but you still did it. And life.
That is exactly it. And this go round is totally different. Yeah. Like, yes, it's a similar form or whatever, but I told Eric at the beginning, I just miss hanging out with him.
You just want to hang out.
I just wanted to hang out with him, and this was a great excuse to do it. But I said, I don't want to show up with any ideas. I don't want to be on the hook. We started initially, like, I was on the hook to kind of back end process it, but I don't have access to any of the drives and stuff anymore. Yeah. So it was like this constant, like, we immediately inserted like 4 extra steps of a text, of an email, or whatever. So after like the second week, we both were like, that ain't going to work. So he found this platform, which was like a happy accident. And again, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is like crack cocaine for your brainy, right? Yeah. Like, he's got all the tools and bells and whistles to play with, and I'm loving watching him like figure the stuff out.
It's fun too, because I can do stuff like this, like on a whim, where I just found this picture of Alan Jones, like somewhat pregnant Joan, like sitting around with Alan.
Oh my God, that's the only picture that I actually look maybe more fit than Joan because she is a freaking dude. That's amazing because she's pregnant.
Is she pregnant or is she immediately post-pregnancy with Julie?
Let me see if I can find a date. Hold on.
Call her in. Is that girl working? What is it?
She's probably do a call in. She's probably working.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can totally.
Is she wearing? Are those Innovates? I think are those like what shoes is she wearing?
Oh, those are Metcons. Those are bright colored Metcons.
Those are good looking shoes.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Do you watch your podcast after?
No, I'm lucky. Like I can't watch or listen to my own content.
What? So this is one of the things, and that's the. I don't like it either, but it's one of our training tools at work. We think that people that are, professionals that, they're comfortable in front of the camera or whatever. They don't need to, but we have in meetings and in these, I guess in our recorded sessions, we have, it's called called Meeting Coach. And it's just taking down everything that you've said. What do you call that? Where it's just writing. So then you go back and look at it. And
that would be totally different medium, totally different forum. I will read my own writing. I will. Oh yeah. Like I'll watch, like I would watch myself coaching. I'll do that. Like there's a different, this to me is I'm less concerned. This is for me personally. I'm less concerned for the improvement on it for the sake of it being like a creative content product. If it was that, then yeah, 100%.
But you just make it for you. What about you?
Exactly.
Eric,
what was the question? I was messaging Joan.
Would you go back and watch? You're
the best.
I like to go back and I'll go back. I won't watch it like in its entirety. I'll skip through parts because like sometimes I'll go back and there was stuff that
I'm so boring.
There's times I'm like,
shut up.
It's like, my God,
Jack, shut up.
Can you close your
Eric,
mouth while Jack's
up.
talking so you don't hear breathing in the microphone? There's times I'll go back and I'll find
feedback. Generally in life, right? Like you like somebody giving you affirmation. Like that's what I'm wondering. So do you ever want people to tell you what they think of it?
Yes. I mean, like totally. That's the vacuum that is like.
Yes. Like I want people to say like, hey, I would love to have more of this.
Yeah.
That's why Andy Hunt is the perpetual
speaking of Andy Hunt.
Best friend. There it is. Right. Best friend of the show right now. Right. Like he is without a doubt because of this. Because he didn't know we were going on Friday. I didn't tell him, but somehow he has set up an alert or something. And
a loser.
Yeah. He actually even, spoiler alert, he sent me some ideas for future episodes. I'll let you know, what they were.
See, this is what I'm talking about. So you guys remember recently I explained my so far career path to somebody and they were like, I don't understand why you're an IT manager. You're a designer. Why? Like, how did you get there? And I told you, and I'm not going to, that's not this podcast, but the point that we were just talking about is getting from the reason that I moved from one step to the next, which was designer to more of like a UX designer, was because I like the psychology behind the things that I do. I like knowing, I like feedback, I like all that. So when I was a designer, just a straight graphic designer, I felt like I would just make something and then I never improved on it because nobody ever told me anything about it. I was doing billboards and postcards for the Philadelphia Orchestra. And I'm like, I don't know if this actually, there was no data. I don't know if this turned into a sale of a ticket or whatever. Like I wanted to know, was I valuable? Was what I did valuable? Is it a good return on investment for this company to have me do
and the resource you're investing is your time.
Yeah. And then how can I make it better? So then when I got into user experience design, it was the opposite. That's like you're asking people directly. I put this button here on this website, and you actually observe people not clicking it, and you're like, what the hell?
What the hell? Is it the wrong spot on the page? Is it 2 pages in?
And then you get to the point where one of the things that I learned was know your user because they're not you. Yeah. That is, they don't think like you do. They don't respond like you do. They don't even act like you do. They don't interact, right? Yeah. But the whole point of that is I was wondering, Eric, if you need more feedback, like if you need more, I don't know, like if the podcast, if what brings you joy is hearing what people think about it, or just being like, man, You're so good looking on camera.
That helps. That helps.
I know you like hearing it.
No, yeah, like I like feedback from like what would make it more entertaining or what would make it more interesting or even just something to talk about sometimes too, because it's a
Just a
load to carry.
topic.
Like I know you say like, don't come on with a topic, like conversational, but also I do want people to get something out of it. Like I do want people, like I know, like, yeah, if we have one
Mhm.
listener, we have one listener, but also at the same point too, like I feel like it needs to, if it just serves me, that feels selfish. I need it to serve other people as well. And so
Yeah.
how can it serve everybody?
Yeah.
And so that's where, like even someone said, I'd really love to hear an episode on bleh. And
Vomit?
Was
Yeah.
it CrossFit related? Was it an actual like?
I mean, it could be
Do you
honestly,
remember?
it could be anything. Like I think sometimes I feel like I'm stuck in this box. We have to talk about CrossFit. And so who made that damn rule? I'm making that rule up in my head that we have to
You
talk about
don't.
CrossFit, right?
You don't.
And
We
it's
haven't.
just
This whole time we've talked about things that are life,
Yeah.
that are valuable.
Yeah, CrossFit's just the reason we got to know each other.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so I get myself stuck in that box that sometimes it's if someone, like I said, I don't care if someone wanted to hear us talk about sandwiches. I could talk about sandwiches for a while.
What's one thing that you think the entire world should know that you know? Come on, give it to like.
I just heard somebody ask that question recently of somebody on another podcast too, of like it was Tim Ferriss interviewing Kevin Kelly, and it was the like when you ask like what is it that you are better than 99.9% of the world in?
Yes, that's a great question, Eric. You're up. Come on. Jack and I know you well, and we know
Yeah.
your strengths and skills and what you bring. But what do you want to share? Like what is
That's
it?
hard because I don't know. I'm working on it myself, but I feel like I'm personally in a place right now where I feel like I'm not good at anything. So I'm trying to.
Buddy.
It's
Be
Mental
nice
health
to
is
yourself.
I mean, yeah,
on,
it's
true.
I'm kind of good at a bunch of things, but what am I like? And it's and like working on it, it's like, well, what's something I'm really good at? Well, I'm really good at coaching a CrossFit class.
Yeah.
And
Can I offer an answer to you?
yes.
And you can believe me if you want to, but at some point, like you'll have to do the work probably to believe this. But what I found was Eric's superpower is that it doesn't matter who the person is, what the forum is, where it's happening, if it's virtually, in person, on a phone call, over an email, over a text message, even via your flippin' Instagram feed. Eric makes the person he is interacting with feel like they are quite possibly the most important, but definitely the only person that he cares about at that point right then. And maybe forever. Like it is the most amazing phenomenon that in a conversation with him, there is a moment where you are like, and it's not like weirdly like, right. It doesn't cross boundaries. It truly is as authentic, intimate, but yet personable and fun and safe. And it is priceless. Like there is that moment. It's why he's a fucking closer. People come in for free intros. They'd sign up that day. I couldn't get somebody to sign up.
That statement from you, but I said the same thing to Eric out there.
Yes,
but it's just what I feel about you. But I agree. It is your superpower. And also I will add, and that must be exhausting.
Yes.
I mean, honestly,
call.
Eric, this is why you feel like that, because you give. It's like this constant, your energy and your caring and everything that you're doing. And that must be exhausting.
It is exhausting because I have to do that here, and then I need to do the same thing
at home. And
honestly, for the people that really matter.
Yeah.
Megan Fee, Axel, and Everett. And sometimes my day starts here at 5:00 in the morning, and then like a day like today, I'm not getting home till after 12.
Yeah.
I've spent the whole day giving that to everyone else, and now I get home and I have to muster up the energy to do that for the rest of the day, which can be hard.
I hear you. I
think that's where
I took off today, and I'll tell you why. In true, because transparency, because you two are my friends. Like I just need a break from talking to people all the time emotionally. Like
Yeah.
I
So good you signed up to do a podcast then.
here's the thing though, like I talk to people that I don't really know personally at work,
Yeah.
and I care about them so much, but I turn it up. You guys know me, just like you do, Eric. I'm like, how can I help you? What can I do for you? How can I serve you? How can
Yeah.
I put you in the spotlight? How can I, it's you, and I do that with all of my employees. It's something that I've gotten confident in my ability to do,
Yeah.
but it's exhausting. And I
Yeah.
need sometimes to just walk away and be like, I don't want to care about you today,
Yeah.
work people. Like, I just want to like focus on me. And this is part of that. It's just hanging out with you guys, going to do the workout, being in the sunshine. Like, I know it's not easy because your life's busy, but
What's so funny, I was just talking, there's Fee was invited to a birthday party tomorrow. And me, I love socializing. Like I meet a new person. I love
you love it.
other people,
Yeah.
but also like now, like I've learned like, now when I actually, I'm taking Fee to this birthday party, these people that I kind of know, but I don't know, like she
Yeah.
goes to camp with these kids and I see the parents in like the pickup line, but like, so I kind of know them. And I dread it because I'm like, I don't have that in me right now. Like,
Yeah.
hey, unless you want to talk about CrossFit, come join this wonderful CrossFit gym that I have in Annapolis, but everyone lives in like Lothian.
Yeah.
But like,
yeah.
yeah, it's funny. Like
That's
it's
another thing I didn't think about is, are you always selling?
right. Like I don't want to
Are
be.
you always selling when you go into like anywhere? I mean, a coffee shop or whatever. You're like, you should come and join my CrossFit gym.
I mean, I always feel like I'm
That's
selling myself, like it's that I don't know, like I want people to walk away and feel like they had a good conversation with me or enjoyed like that several minutes
I
that they
think
had
they
with me.
do. Yeah, I think they do. It's just you have a business to run and people to bring in, and you gotta be thinking about your next client all the time. That's hard.
And this is where like kind of going back to the podcasting, Jack, where it's just like, like it's sometimes it's a freaking it's a task to do this one thing, but even the hard times, you just got to keep. He said, just put your head down and kind of get through it. If you keep your head down and get through it and do the things the right way, like it'll turn out at the other end. You just got to get through it. So sometimes I remind myself of that too, where like through the hard times of like running the business or the family or whatever that is, it's okay. It's hard now, but it'll pay off.
And
so that's
maybe
kind of
even very tiny little wins, like you are both very comfortable on the camera, right? I don't know. You've probably always been Jack or teacher or whatever, but like Eric, you're so charismatic. You can like off the cuff say anything. But how many episodes have you guys done?
This is 15, I think. 15
Of this one, but I think
This one,
we
yeah.
hit 200. Did we hit 200 on the other one?
We were close. I think we were at least 200. Yeah.
So that's.
So we basically did it every week for 4 or 5 years. Yeah.
I mean, that's a skill. That's a transferable skill. That's how I look at it in the business world. I'm like, that's something that you could be like, I know how to craft, build, and do whatever. If you're going to do Fairwinds CrossFit for life, Eric, but if you ever did want to do that, you think about the things that you're growing and cultivating in your own skill set. This is one of them. It's very cool.
Yeah.
So it's actually, that's funny, Ali, that you transit. That's this go round. What I was asking myself when we first started. It started like keep it simple, stupid. Like it started with, I miss you. He missed, like we were at Starbucks and I was like, I miss you. You miss me. Let's just kick it back up. No stakes. Who cares if we do 3 episodes and it dies? Who cares? Let's just do it.
If it dies, it dies.
If it dies, it dies. But in my mind, I get asked the question invariably, especially with being in the program at St. John's now. What am I going to do? Like, what's next? Like, what are you going to do with fill in the blank? Like, or the other one is somebody offers like my husband or my wife works at Booz Allen Hamilton or works at Martin Marietta or they could totally get you an interview if you wanted to, right? Like, and it's always coming from like a very authentically nice and helpful, because we are so uncomfortable as a people as for doing anything just for the sake of doing it.
Oh yeah.
Like what if this serves no purpose?
Yeah.
Like there is nothing translatable from this other than the fact that for an hour to an hour and a half once a week, Eric and I get to just talk to each other and maybe
Yeah.
other really interesting people for no other reason than it's just fun to talk to them.
And
That's for me what
That's
I'm
what we
trying to
think
practice.
here's
Is
what's been on my
stop
mind.
utilitizing everything.
Everything. But here's what's been on my mind, and this is why I think I said it, is because our kids, like our younger generation, is so stuck on this path of like, this is my job and these are the skills in my job, or this is, what I want to do with the rest of my life. And they don't think about, and this is just for employment, I guess, but it's for life too. What other experiences give you that can kind of like bolster that resume, the personal resume of you?
Yeah. Why would are you going, take a gap year and go travel Europe? That'll be great for your resume.
Right. But then you can be
go
like,
take
but
this-
I can find you something in that year because I work for a company that has that puts a premium on emotional IQ. I can tell you, I could find you something that you're doing that transfers, that relates to this job. I know it's harder in education or other places, but even my kids, they're like, no, I don't see how that would work. If I want to go be a whatever, I have to get a degree, I have to do this. And I'm like, there are so many cool things that you learn, even in this format. Like, go try something, and then you can write that on your own personal resume. That's why I've been thinking about it. Honestly.
No, I got it. And believe me, it's not all one side or the other. Like I get it. It's a balance. But there has to be a recognition that at some point, not everything is for something else.
Sure.
Because really, just zoom out one generation, zoom out 100 years.
Yeah.
Nobody will care. Nobody cares about this. And as sad and dark as this sounds, nobody will care that Fairwinds CrossFit existed. Nobody will care that you worked 60 hours a week, right? Exactly, that, and that's zoomed way back in. But you care, and the individual that you spoke to yesterday, and that, right? So there's this constant in and out, up, down, back, forth, and right, so that's that. This has been for God. How long have we been doing this now, buddy? 6 months. So when did we start again? It was right after New Year.
I feel it was right after New Year. Yeah.
Yeah. So almost 4 or 5 months, 6 months, whatever. It doesn't matter. This has been awesome for me, in conjunction with this, with the style of learning, the style of engagement that St. John's offers, and unfortunately or fortunately, I have seen it translate in other areas that I was unsuspectingly surprised that, holy crap, that like in the past I could imagine myself acting in this way, but over the last 4 to 5 months sort of becoming aware of there doesn't have to be a utility to this.
That's cool.
It does translate. And so even in my own saying of just do it to fucking do it, there is always inevitably some sort of secondary, tertiary effect that translates. Yeah.
And now you two, I mean, you're two different brains, so you're figuring out how you do it, what you're doing this for together.
Right. Exactly.
Where you want to take it. And that's another tertiary, secondary, tertiary benefit, is just working with two.
So is the model for you? Do you think you need a partner in crime? Do you need multiple partners in crime? You know what I mean?
But also because I'm a good delegator, and when I get bored of something, to back to your point, I'll be like, today somebody else will be doing it. I love that.
But that might be exactly what you just said. The effect being that it keeps it new, it keeps you interested. You're still in charge of it, right? Maybe that's
speakers. Look for opportunities on my upcoming.
Well, and I'll tell you what, I heard Spotify is not going to be renewing their deal with Joe Rogan, so that leaves a big gap open for one of these two podcasts to take that spot.
That would be amazing.
I wouldn't mind that Joe Rogan money.
Oh God!
You just don't. Your hair is way too good, dude. You don't need this. You don't need Joe Rogan head and face.
I don't.
We just kept getting more Joe Piscopo.
Yeah, that's totally look like.
So, are you still looking for old pictures? You should find some old ones of you, Eric. I can't remember if when I first met you, you had gray in your beard. Do you remember?
Definitely did not.
No.
It had salt and pepper, and ever since Fee was born, it was crazy. I remember when we got before Fee was born, we had like maternity photo shoot done, and like there was some salt and pepper in there, and there has been for a while. And then we got pictures done a year later, and I asked the photographer, I was like, "Is the lighting weird, or is my hair that gray?" Like it was
Yes.
ridiculous over the course of a
You're
year.
You're like a president. You're like the president. You know what I mean? Like you see pictures of Obama on the campaign trail in 2008, and then you see pictures of him like turning over to Trump in 16, and it's like, oh my God, he
Yeah.
aged 50 years.
No
Oh, it's
doubt. I
ridiculous.
mean, how couldn't he? Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, like this is
Getting
So
old
here-
is hard. I just said last night to Rob, I was like, a vacation for me would be a weekend where I could like read stuff without glasses. I fucking hate it. I hate these stupid things. And I'm like, what happened to me? And I stare at the receipt from a restaurant and I'm like, it's gonna come into focus. I know it is.
It's gotta come in.
I'll just move it further away and it's gonna pop out. Like I'm gonna
Yeah.
like and it's gonna be good. And it doesn't. So that
This
would be
is-
ideal.
so this. I feel like there's not as much gray. This is one of my favorite pictures with Fee, but
Is it your beard?
let's look how. So Fee was like 2.
Yes.
Fee was like she was a
I
little over
remember
2.
that picture.
Like not much gray in there. and she
Yes.
was already 2 at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, not nearly as much gray.
And look how dark your beard is in that black and white one of you.
Yeah, that's true.
On
That
the-
picture
on the
was-
wall ball tar-
I think
on the
that
wall
picture
ball
was
tar-
pre-Fee. Yeah,
Yes.
that was pre-Fee.
I think. Do you still have those?
Yeah, I have them up in the garage.
Oh, you have them in the garage shack. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
They have transformed into some of them have transformed into Andrew's rock climbing wall.
No way. That's
What's
cool.
funny? Remember we talked about how if someone's after we were talking about a while back, where if someone's been a member for 5 years, they get a wall ball target. Do you remember?
Yes, that was going to be our right to transition out of the
Right?
birthday
I
wall.
was like, oh,
Yeah.
that's actually like a really cool. And Megan and I were actually talking about that recently, like because like how do we, that's kind of there's people that have been here for a long time. But remember when we switched to Zen Planner, it has everyone starting like
Mhm.
2019. So I have to figure out.
Oh, right, we lost all the yeah. we
Yeah,
lost
so
all
what I
the-
need is to figure out when everyone get dates for when everyone started, and then because it'd be cool to do something. Because I always thought that was a really cool idea. Like we have our wall of like our
Yeah.
our wall ball targets of members, which I thought
And
was
you take one.
really cool. Yeah, so
Oh, that
I'd
is a
figure
cool
that out,
idea.
but that would be fun.
I like it.
Um,
Fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
yeah.
what else? You guys just keep talking, or are we done?
How do you land this damn thing?
Oh, we could do gratitudes. Got any jokes? Got a good joke?
Just close the clam shut.
Yeah.
Goodbye. Oh yeah, gratitudes and jokes. You
Yeah.
haven't told a joke today to me. So what's your joke lately? You collect.
Do we want to go? Do we go?
It's
What do you?
only Andy out there, right? Jeremy.
No, Andy's gone now. Andy's.
Oh.
It's funny. I sent Andy a message too to see if he wanted to jump on. He said he's stuck at work. I said me too.
Hey man, choose your rate, choose your fate. That's a Navy saying.
Okay. All right. So this guy.
Again, who else has jokes like just stored off?
Exactly.
It's not like a-
Again, it's all about the ability to make the experience for the other person so amazing, right?
Yes.
Like it's yeah. And I swear, man, it's
an awkward silence probably better than anybody else.
Yeah.
in the
That's because I
It's
can't
running-
stand silence. Meg
well,
does all the
because
time.
it's-
Like, Eric, you don't have to talk.
yeah, it's running as his operating system in the background, whether
Yeah.
you're aware of it or not. And
Yes.
that's the thing, not that metaphor always works because we are not computers or machines, but like half the challenge and benefit I think of like doing any sort of self work is to uncover or at least like make visible that way in which you as an individual are running in the background, right? It's not saying it's good, it's not saying it's bad, it's just, hey, if you're unaware of it, that's where it could be problematic. But like I think the last year of work you, Eric, have been doing with the affiliate you stuff and your own stuff is becoming aware of like, oh, that is how I operate. And then honestly asking the question and saying like, does that serve me or not? And if it doesn't, how do I change it? If it does serve, oh, he's out of here. He's done. I lost sound. I lost sound on you, Allie, because This is really cool. It's just me now. Oh, now he's back.
There he is.
No, that's that. There's that again. Back to like noticing what you need, Eric. Your battery runs really hot, so you probably do have to figure out those best ways to recharge.
It does hot.
Right. Well, I mean, that metaphor serves. It's like he runs physically and emotionally hot.
I need to unplug. All right,
Yes.
joke it
Yeah.
up. What's the joke?
Yeah.
Oh, give it to us.
Okay, all right. So this guy walks into a bar, and the bartender notices he has half of an orange for a face. So like half of his face looks like an orange. And the guy sits down at the bar, and he orders a beer. He's like serves him up, and he's like, "Hey, the bartender's like, all right, I'm not gonna ask this guy. Like it's obvious, but I'm not gonna ask this guy." And then he gives him the beer, and the bartender's like $5, and the guy starts reaching into his pockets, and all this money starts falling out of his pockets, just all over the floor. And the bartender's like, "Oh, hey man, you're dropping money." He goes, "Don't worry about it. There's plenty more where that came from." He was like, "Really?" He goes, "Oh yeah, no problem. Here." He goes, "I'm sorry, I have to ask you. I couldn't help but notice that half of your face is an orange." And the guy's like, "Oh yeah, it is, isn't it?" And he goes, "What is that about?" He goes, "All right, it's a crazy story. Let me tell you about it." So I'm walking down the street one day, and there's this giant pile of junk just sitting on the ground, and on the bottom of it is a genie's lamp. And so I'm like, well, I pick it up and thought maybe this will work. He rubs the lamp, and a genie pops out. And he's like, "Oh no way! I don't think that actually happened." But sure enough, in this joke, it does. And he, rubs the lamp, and a genie pops out, and he's like, "Yeah, you're a genie." And he's like, "That I am." He goes, "Do you still do the 3 wish thing?" He goes, "Yep, that's my deal. That's what I do." He goes, "Oh, this is great. All right, I got 3 wishes." And the genie's like, "All right, but you gotta be careful what you wish for. Okay, things can have double meanings, and you gotta be real responsible with these wishes." He's like, I got it. It's all good. I got it. My first wish, I want to have any pants that I'm wearing always has money in the pockets. Just endless amounts of money in the pockets. And the genie's like, "All right, cool, done."
Oh.
He reaches in pockets, and he's cash, just cash everywhere. Mm-hmm. He's like, "All right, cool, that was good." He goes, "All right, I got 2 more wishes." He goes, "Right, but you got to be careful. All right, be responsible with these wishes. Think about it." He's like, yeah, I really need to think about the second one. You know what? I'm going to go up the street. I'm going to get some coffee, and I'm going to think about it a little. You want any coffee, Genie? Because I got cash. I got the money now. I got it. And Genie's like, "Sure, I'll take I'll take a grande with cream." And so he comes back, and he goes, "All right, I thought about it. I've got my second wish." He goes, "You sure? Think it through." He goes, I got it. I want a giant house with bedrooms for all of my friends, with a pool, with a garage filled with cars. I want all this land, just this beautiful mansion. I wish to have that." And she's like, "Okay, good one. Done." Guy has a giant house, cars, pool, and all that good stuff. He's like, "All right, you got one more wish. I've said it before, and I'm saying it again. Be very careful what you wish for. You've got a lot of responsibility." You guys like, okay, I've got it. He's like, "You sure?" He's like, "I've got it. I wish," and I've always wanted this, "I wish to have half of a face that looks like an orange." You're welcome.
That's the best joke ever. It's only because we can laugh that long.
Right. Yeah. I didn't know where that was going to go. I'll tell you. So that makes me think of, I was like, I'm grateful for things. I am so grateful that my semester is currently over. I have no job, and I have absolutely nothing to do today except walk my dogs, maybe do a workout, and go to the grocery store, because otherwise I think Eric and I might not be friends anymore if I had to suffer through that joke. But it wasn't suffering. That was honestly super enjoyable. So I am grateful for having 0 responsibilities or I don't know, any sort of income.
What's good is because you have nothing else going on, you might actually have some room in there to store that one to tell.
Yeah. Well, it works because there's never
be able to tell that joke the way you just told it.
Well, there's no constraint. There's no constraint on remembering like the turn of phrase that like was misconstrued by the genie to facilitate the creation of a half an orange face. It truly is as dumb as a joke can be, and so you may remember it. That was awesome,
Everything
dude.
brought
Thank
everything in. That was really good, Eric. You could do a TED talk and just let it like fizzle, just like nothing. It's never
Yeah, like end it with that.
out of it.
Yeah, the power of purposeless speech. That joke is the epitome of that
That was really good.
phenomena.
I'm grateful for your joke.
Yeah, thanks, dude. You're the best.
That
Oh,
was
it
good.
was fun. And for
That's
you
fun.
guys, this is it's also a good day. Good day for me.
I
I'm
get-
off today, so
Nice.
I've already said that. I'm
Nice.
excited to be here. What's your gratitude, Mr.
Well, I appreciate
Orange
you. Oh,
face.
that's awesome. Orange face.
Mr. Orange Face?
Mr. Orange face.
I can't do anything right except deliver like a 5-minute joke that makes us laugh.
That's
It's really,
I do. I look for when I hear jokes like this. Like I cannot wait to tell someone that joke. I can't wait to just let them squirm for a few minutes and tell them that. Joke.
That's
And
how
then
you
the
know.
payoff. And the payoff is for me, not for you.
Yeah. That's how you know you're really friends with somebody when they just be like, and I'll come back. I will keep coming back for more and more. And I know that there is a 70, 80% chance that all of them are going to be exactly like that, but I will always come back for another one.
Yeah.
really good.
So anyway, yeah, you never finished, dude. What's your gratitude?
Yeah, mine. No, Allie. I'm like, I appreciate you coming on. I'm really excited that we found this. They said this. We're talking about getting you back to the gym, but I know your schedule's kind of crazy. I'm like, yeah, but I still like. And I was like, well, I knew I still wanted to use you for design purposes, but I'm like, but I don't feel good about asking you to do these things when you're not even like a member,
Right.
like paying member. And it's like that just
Yeah.
feels like.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm taking advantage, and I want it to be a give and take. And I'm like, so why don't we just be workout buddies? And like we get it a few days a week. It's good for me because it's someone too that like if I have it on my calendar, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And so that helps. And then I don't feel bad about like, hey, let's come up with a design. But I've always loved being able to go back and forth. Here's my idea.
Yep.
And then when you put it out there, I'm like, oh man. And even the first time I see it too, I'm like, that's awesome.
Keeps
But we
me
still
sharp.
tweak it sometimes. I'm like, that's even better. I didn't even know it could get better.
Mhm.
And so I'm glad that this is a thing. So my gratitude is this professional relationship that we currently have going.
Thank you. I like it
So,
too.
it's
fun.
cool.
Keeps me sharp.
Yeah.
This
And
is fun.
fitter. And you're getting fitter.
And fit.
Yeah, I'm getting fitter.
That's right. That was
And
fun
I
today.
didn't have to wear shoes today because Eric wasn't wearing shoes in the workout, and I was like, "That looks really nice." I'm gonna take my shoes off too. So we did the workout without shoes.
Yes,
It
since I
was
got my
fun.
stitches, I
Sometimes I don't even wear pants when I work out anymore.
don't do that with double unders.
Oh yeah. Well,
I don't really have that problem.
the bench press was really nice with no shoes.
Yeah.
How about the toes bar? That looks like that might have hurt.
Well,
The toaster rings,
Okay.
yeah.
I've never done a toaster rings. This
They're
was-
actually, I think they're easier than toes to
It
bar.
was so
Very
much
good.
fun. I felt like a kid. It was like
Yeah,
good
because
fun.
you get so much kip. So as long as you
Yeah.
just keep those shoulders open and a little bit engaged. Yeah.
So that's the key is just a big flowy swing and you got yourself a toaster ring.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Toaster ring.
Yeah. That was fun. That was a
I
fun
love
one.
it. This was fun, you guys.
Cool kids.
Agreed.
Great.
Good
Jack,
surprise.
okay. And yeah, I can't wait for the next one. I'll listen.
Heck yeah. And we'll look out for yours.
Oh yeah, I'll tell
Yeah,
you.
seriously.
And,
Keep us
and maybe
updated.
like another, a couple months. I'll
Yeah.
give you guys an update
Sounds like a plan.
for your listener.
I'd say before July, you should do it. Like, when's the next milestone at Adobe?
I
know
mean,
what I
you
mean?
mean quarterly? Like what?
Yeah,
we
like
do?
what's your next corporate sort of like? There's an
Oh,
event.
big thing.
Yeah.
We just finished the spring and summer, so it'll be again next spring, March. Are the big events? Oh no, there's
That's too
one.
far.
That's
What's
too
like
far.
something sooner? You know what I mean? So you could say like, I want to have at least a half a dozen of these in the can. to
By
talk-
shutdown. Shutdown is July. That would be too soon. But in July we have there's 2 big breaks. So the whole company shuts down in July for summer shutdown, and then one at the holiday season. So maybe
When do you come back? When you come back, what happens when you come back from the shutdown?
so then but back to BAU, business as usual. What do you mean?
Like,
Just-
you do? I mean, like when you come back, is there sort of
The
like
podcast business is unusual.
yeah, this is on? That's actually it's kind of
I
funny.
like it.
Um,
Well, that's a good So
that actually is Eric. Business as usual. That's really good.
Business
Um,
as unusual.
Business
unusual.
what?
Business as unusual.
Oh, that's even better. God,
Yeah.
That's really good.
But
So
what
we
I'm saying, like when you come back, you could have like in the can a half a dozen
Yeah.
of them that you've gotten that you can like in that first meeting be like, hey, this is a project I've been working on. I did it kind of selfishly for myself, but look at the runtime I'm getting on it, and I'm just curious if anybody would be interested in
I like
jumping
that.
on board.
All right, let me think about that for July because
And it makes it right. It's kind of scary for you. That's like you got to go against yourself because you were already like, I'll put it off 2 months, 3 months.
I don't have to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And now you kind of give yourself that like, oh shit. But it's still low stakes because nobody else is involved. So if it doesn't happen, it's not like epic failure. It's just like, fuck it, it didn't work out. Whatever.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's done.
Nothing matters.
Nothing matters. Zoom out far enough, it all doesn't matter. That way you can zoom back in and be like, oh, it does kind of matter. All right.
Exactly.
I don't care.
So depressing, Jack.
No, it's actually that's the philosophy, the idea of like zoom out far enough, you can feel like everything doesn't matter and it's purposeless. But then what that does is it alleviates that paralysis because now all of a sudden it's like, oh wait, it does matter. Like I actually do matter, and it like this moment actually matters. So I gotta give a shit. But I give a shit in a way that doesn't feel so overwhelming. It feels so low stakes of like, oh, I just have to be nice to you guys in this moment and enjoy it. Well, that seems doable. Okay.
I like it.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
Good stuff, you guys.
Good
That
stuff.
was fun.
That was fun. Bye.
All right. Shut the
The,
Leave.